morning, good afternoon and good evening class. This is our lecture number 8 and last lecture of chapter 5, Poverty of Subject Economics. In last lecture, that is in lecture number 7, we have discussed about the measures to reduce poverty, in which 7 points are there. In last lecture, we have discussed 6 points in detail, and today we are going to start with the point number 7, that is employment programs. As we have discussed in the indicators in poverty, there are some of the defective policies of government are there, which is failed in reducing the poverty at a very high level. But today, here we are going to discuss about some of the policies which are developed by government or which are introduced by government from time to time. So it is in page number 60. See, this question will be asked combined with the measures to reduce poverty, or it may be asked as a separate question in which there may be possibility that they will ask the different kind of programs separately for 3 marks also. So page number 60, point number 5.5.7, that is employment programs. Employment generation and poverty eradication are interrelated. As we are providing more and more employment to the general public, then it will helpful in gaining more and more income, and that will result into reduction of poverty. Some important employment programs for poverty eradication are as under. So here we are going to discuss about some of the 9 or 10 program in which we today or in the initial stage we are going to discuss about IRDP, that is Integrated Rural Development Program, SGSY, that is Swarna Jayanti Swarojgar Gram Swarojgar Yojana, and second one is a wage employment schemes, then Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana, Narega, and housing schemes. So let us start with the IRDP or SGSY. The full form of IRDP is Integrated Rural Development Program, and full form of SGSY is Suvarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. During the 6th 5-year plan, various agencies started different programs for rural poor. So this Suvarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar means it is related with the rural poverty. That's why during the 6th 5-year plan, various agencies started different programs for rural poor. All these programs were merged in IRDP on 2nd October 1980. So I have mentioned over here that IRDP was introduced, and all those programs which are introduced before or during the 6th 5-year plan are merged into IRDP on 2nd October 1980. The main objective, so first of all line this, all this program were merged in IRDP on 2nd October 1980. Then second line is the main objective of IRDP is to encourage poor families for self-employment. There is 2 kinds of employment is there. First one is wage employment and second one is self-employment. In self-employment, government trying to provide all kind of training by which people are able to gain profit, or by which they become self-reliant or self-sufficient. So here they are not interested in getting a wage employment anywhere, means they are not salaried or any kind of employees. Here they are working by their own. So the main objective of IRDP is to encourage poor families for self-employment so that they can get more income to rise above the poverty line. So here they have targeted all those people who are below poverty line or coming from the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and very poor farmers of rural areas. The main objective is to encourage poor families for self-employment. So it means they are providing training for some kind of artisan's work or some kind of work which is related with their ancestors. And self-employment so that they can get more income to rise above the poverty line. Here they are providing self-sufficiency to the rural poorers. This program focused on few special groups. So here for rural employment they have focused on small group of people or special groups which includes small and marginal farmers. These are the farmers who are having a very less land, or sometimes they are landless laborer farmers also. Second one is so it includes small and marginal farmers. Second one is agricultural laborers and rural artisans like potters, cobblers, goldsmith, blacksmith, etc. So basically just concentrate over here. All these are self-employment persons. Whether it is small and marginal farmer, they are not getting any kind of wages, agricultural laborer and rural artisans. So here in this scheme they are making a list of 10 to 12 self-help group who are providing training related to their working area to all those people who are interested in self-employment program. This way IRDP program is known as anti-poverty program because it provides the opportunity for self-employment. Following programs were included in self-employment program. So list of programs which I have mentioned over here is also included in the self-employment programs. First one is IRDP, that is Integrated Rural Development Plan, which we have discussed here. Second one is TRICEM, that is Training of Rural Youth and for Self-Employment. Sometimes it may ask that either give the full form of TRICEM or what is the work of TRICEM, then you have to mention only full form of this, because full form includes the objective of this particular program, that is it gives training of rural youth and for self-employment. Here they are providing training to rural youth for self-employment. Then DWECRA, in which development of women and child in rural areas, development of women and child in rural areas. You have to note down all these short forms of all the chapters in separate page or separate pin page so that you can revise it whenever it is necessary. Then MWS, it is Million Well Scheme, in which government has declared some of the programs related to wells, in which the poor farmers and landless laborers are digging these wells for their betterment, but government is providing them self-employment opportunity. Then CITRA, supplying improved toolkit to rural artisans. Here they are providing all kind of tools and equipments to rural artisans who willing to do their own work, but they are lacking these tools and equipment. So here in CITRA, government is supplying improved toolkits to rural artisans. And last one is a Ganga Welfare Scheme, in which it provides self-employment opportunities to the rural poorers. On 1st April 1999, here I have mentioned that on 1st April 1999, SGSY, it means IRDP and other programs integrated with it were merged and named as Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. Now you will be able to understand why this scheme is called as IRDP or SGSY. Initially IRDP was a separate program of self-employment. Along with IRDP, TRICEM, DWECRA, MWS, CITRA and GWS are also some of the special self-employment programs are there. But on 1st April 1999, government have merged all these and other self-employment programs into Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. Under this scheme, in rural areas, apart from development of small trade, here small trade means all these persons who are engaged for self-employment will be included. Self-help group, as I have mentioned that there is a self-help group of 10 to 12 people who are providing training to these artisans for their betterment or for their reality work. Were also provided infrastructural facilities. Along with this, government is providing infrastructures, technology, loan facility, market for final goods to rural poor. So these are the objectives of Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. Here, apart from development of small trade, means by this way they are providing a small trade, but self-help groups are also provided infrastructural facilities, technology, loan facility, market for final goods to rural poor. See, from this particular policy, there is a possibility that, or it may be possible that they will ask either full form or some of the objectives or programs or their establishment year. So it is very important to remember or to learn this particular program very properly. Now we'll move towards the second point, that is wage employment schemes. In wage employment schemes, these programs are part of strategy of poverty eradication and has multiple objectives. See, first of all, here we are discussing about self-employment, in which government is trying to provide training for the betterment or for their self-employment. But here the name suggests that wage employment schemes means here government is trying to provide them particular wage for some period of time. It means they are providing a salary or wages on the basis of work done by them. These programs are part of strategy of poverty eradication and has multiple objectives. So there are multiple objectives associated with these wage employment schemes. In wage employment schemes, focus was on those poor who do not have any other source of income than physical labor. Here, in self-employment scheme, we have focused on small and marginal farmers who are having their own land, agricultural laborers who are having particular job, or those who are working for a long period of time for their zamindars and others, and rural artisans who are having skills and knowledge for their work. But here in wage employment scheme, we are focusing on all the other, means all the persons other than this self-employment persons. Because here, those who are included in wage employment scheme, they do not possess any kind of self-employment knowledge, skills, tools, equipment, anything. And that's why they are totally dependent on wages provided by the government. So in wage employment scheme, focus was on those poor who do not have any other source of income than physical labor. These schemes do not only provide self-employment in the slack season, it means it is wage employment scheme, but it provides self-employment in slack season. It means in a slack season where there is no possibility of any kind of business activities, this will provide the opportunity to work from their villages only, but also provide employment during floods, droughts, scarcity and other natural calamities. Likewise, in today's pandemic, many of the persons, those who are engaged with this physical labor, have become unemployed. Due to this lockdown and all other economic restrictions, they are not able to work for their livelihood. So it may happen that in near future, government will introduce some kind of wage employment scheme where they will provide the wage employment to these poor laborers or those workers who are having only option as a physical labor. Under these schemes, infrastructural services develop in rural areas. It means government is providing opportunity to work, which is for the betterment of their own community. It means they are providing loan or employment facility for constructing the road, constructing bridges, hospitals, schools, labs, etc. By this way, those who are landless persons or those who want any kind of physical work will be given work by a government for the betterment of community. By this work, all those who are living in that particular area will be beneficial. And by this way, government is providing a combo of opportunity. In one hand, it provides employment opportunity, and in second hand, it provides infrastructural facilities and services to the rural poor. Under these schemes, infrastructural services developed in rural areas. It is tried that laborers should get proper salaries. Wage employment skill included. So here includes two schemes. First one is Jawahar Rozgar Yojana, that is also known as JRY, and second one is Employment Assistance Scheme, that is also known as EAS. Here we have to mention only these two schemes. There is no detail given, so don't be panicked regarding these schemes. Third one is Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana. See, at the first instance, all these schemes is related with eradication and removal of poverty. But all these schemes are having their own different objectives. Like here they are trying to providing self-employment to rural poor. Here they are trying to providing wage employment to rural poor. Now in Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana, in the decades of 90s, employment generation in organized sector was stagnant. As we have already discussed about the organized and unorganized sector in last lecture. So in the decades of 90s, employment generation in organized sector was stagnant. It means stable. There is no new recruitment is there. And in public sector, negative growth was noticed. How this negative growth is noticed? Government is not recruiting the new employees in place of old employees, and majority of the persons who are working with government are getting retired or any other means they are leaving the job or die. So in one instance there is a possibility of job opportunity, but government is not providing a job opportunity, and many of the employees, those who are already working, will left the job, and that's why negative growth rate was noticed. On the other hand, unemployment rate was rising fast because people are not able to getting any kind of wage schemes. On this situation, Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana was started for self-employment with the objective of starting ventures to provide employment to educated unemployed. So this is the objective of Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana. Line this statement. Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana was started for self-employment with the objective of starting ventures to provide employment to educated and unemployed. So here Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana is focusing on educated unemployed persons only. Now we are moving forward, and this one is the fourth one and most important policy or scheme, that is National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005, that is NREGA. It is also called as a NREGA. In the year 2005, National Employment Guarantee Act was accepted with the objective. So line this statement, it is the objective of NREGA that creating assets through public construction activities and to provide employment to one person per family of minimum 100 days to rural and urban poor as well as lower middle class families. See now, here the focus is rural and urban poor. Here government trying to provide minimum 100 days employment to single person from a family. It means first of all they are making a survey of all the poor either in a rural or in a urban. After making this survey, they are finding that how many persons or how many families are below poverty line and require a wage employment or some kind of self-employment program. After making the list of all those families, they are selecting a family and providing job opportunity to at least one person from a family for minimum 100 days. And here the work which is provided by this way is basically for the betterment of community or by the way of constructing and providing infrastructural facilities. Again, let us focus that National Employment Guarantee Act was accepted with the objective of creating asset through public construction activity. It means here they are providing public construction activities, and by that way they are making a public assets, means roads, bridges, schools, colleges, hospitals and wells, etc., lakes, and provide employment to one person per family of minimum 100 days to rural as well as urban poor as well as lower middle class families. So here they have focused on lower middle class families also, those who are unable to get employment with any of the reason. In 2009, NREGA was reformed as Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, that is MG-NREGA. So nowadays this NREGA is transformed into MG-NREGA. We will discuss in detail about this point in chapter number 6, where we are having a full-fledged detail regarding this plan is there. Now, next one is a housing schemes. So, in different time period, focusing on different situations or different ruling parties, they have tried to provide different housing scheme to all those who are dwelling or those who are living in hutments and slum areas. In India, still a majority of poor people dwell in semi-stable or temporary house. Even today, we are seeing that there are so many kacha houses around the city areas. We are having the longest slum in the world. That's why means same as semi-stable or temporary houses is also risky and it is the sign of poverty. With an objective to provide proper dwelling to poor, in the year 1985-1986, Indira Awas Yojana, that is IAY, was started for families. Now focus here. This scheme is particularly for the families below poverty line, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Done? Moreover, in 2013-14, Rajiv Gandhi Yojana was implemented. So first, in housing scheme, the first scheme was Indira Awas Yojana, which was started in 1985-86, and the objective was, or the focus area is below poverty line, scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. In 2013-14, so this one is the second scheme, that is Rajiv Gandhi Yojana, was implemented to improve the housing of those who reside in huts. So all those who are reside in huts and small slum areas. In urban areas also, poor people reside in slums where they are deprived of basic facilities of drinking water, toilets and electricity. Done? So, if we are seeing in Bhavnagar also, we are having this kind of huts nearest to the railway station or railway track. When we are going from Bhavnagar to anywhere, after crossing this Kumbharwada crossing, we will find that there are so many huts are there in both sides of the tracks who are living in this hutmen, and for them Rajiv Gandhi Yojana was started for rural as well as urban poorers. So this was the second plan. Due to fast increasing problem of dwelling in urban areas, from 25th July 2015, this one is the third scheme. For urban poor, Prime Minister Awas Yojana, PMAY, Prime Minister Awas Yojana was started. So here we are having three schemes in housing scheme. First one is Indira Awas, second one is Rajiv Gandhi, and third one is Prime Minister Awas Yojana. Housing schemes are important for dwelling purpose but simultaneously they also create employment, because here they are constructing these houses for the rural or urban poor. It provides them employment opportunities. Let us move forward. Scheme number 6, that is Social Security Scheme, is on page number 68, point number 5.5.9. As a strategy to reduce poverty in India, various social security schemes were started. See, first of all, we have discussed self-employment scheme, then we move towards the wage employment scheme, then Rozgar scheme, and MG Narega. Now, this one is the social security scheme, in which government is not providing any kind of self-employment or wage employment to the poorest, but they are providing different facilities or different help to the poorest. So here in this social security scheme, as a strategy to reduce poverty in India, various social security schemes were started, in which we are going to discuss about the main 4 schemes: Atal Pension Scheme, Prime Minister Security Scheme, Jeevan Jyoti Scheme, and Prime Minister Fasal Bima Yojana, that is PMFBY. Now let us start with Atal Pension Scheme. For workers of unorganized sector, which I have mentioned over here, from 9th May 2015, so it is from 9th May 2015, Atal Pension Scheme was started, in which, so here it is the objective of Atal Pension Scheme. You have to remember in Atal Pension Scheme that it is started on 9th May 2015. It is for the workers of unorganized sector, and the objective is to provide monthly pension to pay to people above 60 years. So all those who are in unorganized sector, they are not able or they are not liable to get anything as a pension. So here government is trying to providing a pension to them also, those who are working in an unorganized sector and poor. Then after the age of 60 years, they are getting a fixed sum as a pension by the government every month. So Atal Pension Scheme started on 9th May 2015. It is for the workers of unorganized sector, and in which government is providing pension to those who crossed 60 years or above. Second, under the Prime Minister Security Scheme, here this Prime Minister Security Scheme and Jeevan Jyoti Scheme is connected with the banking, or it is connected with your bank account. If you are starting or if you are opening a bank account in any of the public sector bank, then you will be entitled to get both of these schemes at a very less premium. Discuss about it. Let us discuss about it. Under the Prime Minister Security Scheme, for people in the age of 18 to 70 years, specifically all the private companies or all the private insurance companies are giving or providing insurance up to the age of 60 years only. After 60 years, the person is more prone to some kind of disease and death. That's why they are not providing. But here, the government is providing this Prime Minister Security Scheme between the age of 18 to 70 years. Here, accidental insurance of rupees 2 lakh. It means in case of death of a person who is insured by the way of accident or any kind of accidents is happened, then accidental insurance of rupees 2 lakh was opened with minimum premium of rupees 12 only. If you are checking this with any of the private organization, then it will take minimum 2,500 rupees or 3,000 rupees for the amount of 2 lakh. But here, government is providing this facility at 12 rupees only. Now third one, is Jivan Jyoti scheme, in which the life insurance of rupees 2 lakh. See, here they are providing an accidental insurance of rupees 2 lakh, while here they are providing life insurance of 2 lakh at a premium of just rupees 330 per year. So both this scheme is for the social security and general people, where at the premium of very less, that is only 330 rupees per year or only 12 rupees per year, they are providing an insurance of 2 plus 2, that is 4 lakh rupees. So by paying rupees 342, you will be able to get insurance of rupees 4 lakh. To safeguard farmers, now fourth one is Prime Minister Fasal Bima Yojana, that is PMFBY, and it is open to safeguard farmer from crop failure. Sometimes it may happen that farmers are trying hard for their cropping, but due to weather conditions or any other situation, their cropping is failure, and in this situation, government is providing Fasal Bima Yojana. Here they are providing an insurance, that is Bima, where they safeguard these farmers from this crop failure. Now, seventh one and last one is Jan Dhan Yojana. Through financial inclusion. See, India is a country with different kind of attitudes, behavior and personalities. So majority of Indians are believing in banking, and many of them are not believing in banking. But once this banking and this banking process is improved in the country, then we will be having proper calculation of national income, and we will provide the fruits of national income to each and every person, whether he is a poor or rich. And for that, we have to make them aware regarding the benefits of this banking sector. And it is the work which is done by the Prime Minister or Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana through financial inclusion. So here their priority is that all those people who are not in a banking sector will be added to the banking sector, so that their money will come under the circulation, and it will helpful in the financial strong or strength of economy. To hit the root of poverty, because to hit the root of poverty, it is necessary to include them in the financial system of the country. An ambitious scheme, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, was introduced. This scheme began on 28 August 2014. Remember this date very carefully. And the very first day of this scheme, 1.5 crore accounts were opened. So it shows the popularity of this scheme and eagerness of a person to include into the financial system. So on 28 August 2014, on a very first day, we are having 1.5 crore accounts opened under the Jan Dhan Yojana scheme. Till 8 January, so it is started on 28 August, and within the period of almost 6 months or less than 6 months, till 8 January, 12.58 crore accounts were opened. Till 8 January, the number increased to 12.58 crores, where investment of rupees, it means the public has deposited rupees 10,519 crore, rupees 10,590 crore in their bank account, which were not in the financial inclusion before the scheme was introduced. Now let us discuss some of the features and importance of Jan Dhan Yojana with the objective of increasing banking facilities per capita, means per person. Here I have mentioned that this is the objective of Jan Dhan Yojana. They are trying to increasing banking facility per capita, it means per person. And here they have included all those persons who don't possess any of the bank account in any of the bank, that is whether it is in private sector, public sector or cooperative sector. So with the objective of increasing banking facilities per capita and reduction in regional inequalities. Banking because as we are seeing that banking are concentrated on city and urban areas only. And in villages, there is a less number of bankings and branches are opening. So here the main objective is increasing banking facilities per capita and reduction in regional inequalities. It means nowadays we are seeing that many of the private sector banks are also opening their branches in the rural and remote areas because of these Jan Dhan accounts. This Yojana was started and the main purpose was that the subsidy given to poor families by government should directly go to their bank accounts. Till the day, the scheme was, or the system, or the Indian system was like that. Whatever subsidies allocated by the government will not reach to the poorer with the fullest amount. There is so many corrupted ministers and so many corrupted government employees are there who are cutting their amount or subsidy. But due to this Jan Dhan Yojana, now government is having, or due to this Jan Dhan Yojana and Aadhaar scheme, now government is having the banking detail of each and every Indian. And now, if they want to credit any of the amount, whether it is for a subsidy or any kind of benefit, likewise in this pandemic, government has deposited rupees 1,000 in some of the accounts of the poor families. So it is credited directly to the person's bank account through this Jan Dhan Yojana. So this one is the first benefit, that by this Yojana, the facility or the benefit given by the government reaches directly to the citizen. Second, the main feature of this scheme is that the bank account is opened with zero balance. Here you can account with a zero balance, so you do not have to deposit any of the amount or to maintain any of the amount. And after 5 months of opening account, means once 5 months is passed of your account, you will be entitled to overdraft of rupees 5,000. So OD, overdraft of rupees 5,000 is available after 5 months, in which you are entitled to get a 5,000 rupees even your bank account balance is zero. But make sure that it is overdraft and you have to repay it with particular interest decided by the government. Under this scheme, those who opened account before 26 January, here we have discussed that from 28 August 2014 scheme was started until 8 January 12.58 crore accounts opened. But before 26 January of 2015, those who opened account before 26 January have also benefited with the life insurance policy. It means government has provided them life insurance with a zero premium. Prime Minister Jan Dhan Yojana is prominently a scheme for overall financial inclusion, in which all those persons are also included who are not banked till the day. On the other hand, it hits directly on poverty by providing microfinance and banking facility. So this one is the third feature, where they are providing a microfinance and banking facilities to the poor. So here in scheme number 6 and 7, in scheme number 6 we have discussed 4 schemes, that is Atal Pension Scheme, started on 9th May 2015 for the workers of unorganized sector, and they are entitled to getting a pension after the age of 60 years. In Prime Minister Security Scheme, this scheme is for the age between 18 to 70 years, in which accidental insurance of rupees 2 lakh is provided at a premium of rupees 12 only. Third one is the Jivan Jyoti Scheme. It is life insurance of 2 lakh rupees at the premium of just rupees 330 per year. And fourth one is a Prime Minister Fasal Bima Yojana, which is for the safeguard of farmers from crop failure. And in 7th Jan Dhan Yojana, remember this one very carefully because it may ask. It started on 28 August 2014. The very first day, 1.5 crore bank accounts opened. Till 8 January, 12.58 bank accounts were opened, and total deposit of rupees 10,590 crore was deposited into bank account. And these are the objectives and features of this Jan Dhan Yojana. So here we are concluding chapter number 5th, that is poverty of subject economics. I suggest you to complete your exercise. Thank you very much, class.